Good afternoon. Welcome to the Business Spotlight series. My name is Sanjeev Dodia from Action Coach, and today I've got Mat Megens from Hyperjar. Hi, Matt. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Thank you for having me on the podcast.
Fantastic. Looking forward to you sharing your experience and insights with our audience. So, Matt, let's get right into it. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and what the business does and so on?
Yeah, sure. So you can tell from my accent, I'm not from here. I'm from Canada originally. I moved here about 15 years ago. I was an engineer who then came here to become a banker, investment banker, working within fixed income. And I guess that sort of inspired me to what I'm currently doing today, which is I founded a company called Hyperjar. And Hyperjar, it combines a lot of aspects from my life and my professional career in terms of a business, but at its core is a personal money management app that tries to help you as any average person as a consumer to spend their money better. So lots of financial apps and banking apps might help you to spend more quickly, might help you to get access to debt. We have a focus where we're trying to take that money that you have, your income that you have, and spend it very well with thought. And we try to build tools around that so that everyone can hopefully maximize the amount of money they have at the end of the day. So this financial literacy, financial management in a way that works within the real world, and that's what we are. But it's an app and a prepaid MasterCard alongside it. So a lot of payments technology we've had to build. So I've applied lots of my engineering background in terms of problem solving, but also a lot of my finance background in terms of trying to solve, I guess, the issues that people face with on a day-to-day basis in terms of their financial lives.
Right. Well, and what inspired you to get into that?
So I think the original inspiration was from my parents, who always taught me a life philosophy around just be careful with debt, because debt can lead you into trouble. Obviously, it can be very powerful. It can be very helpful if you, for example, want to buy a house and get a mortgage. It can be a beneficial tool, but it can also be very dangerous. So I was always taught this sort of conservative view around just be careful with money and try to save for things and try to be more patient. So that philosophy was ingrained with me as a child. But in this modern age, especially with social media, a lot of marketing is about impulse, about getting things now, using debt to buy things, to try to even compete with other people. So I thought that there was this, first of all, a position to help people be more thoughtful, and if we could somehow incorporate the retail sector into encouraging a savings-based approach. You don't have to have everyone do this, but if you give people a choice, around a savings-based approach, I think that would be better for society. So that was, I think, the overall philosophy. And then to think about a business around this, it was just that core concept of if a consumer can commit early to a shop, if they can sort of commit to some purchase decision based on their budget, their plan, there's a benefit to the shop to do that. So trying to create a business model around that became really interesting to me as a problem, because it becomes a win-win proposition potentially. So yeah, a factor of my upbringing, along with my just desire to try and solve this problem for a healthy economy.
Very interesting indeed. So where's the business at now, Matt, in terms of evolution?
So we've done quite well the past few years. We're only launched in the UK, although we do have international ambition. We have about 500,000 customers, so just over 500,000 customers, and lots of press from around the UK, lots of awards. So we've been recognized for both the technology that we built, because we have invented a few things within the payments world, so this is esoteric payments world, but also in terms of the outcomes that we deliver people, because we are trying to help people be better off when they use our products. So we've been recognized for that, which is one of the most satisfying things for me, and lots of positive reviews from our customers. So quite well along. Still a long way to go. Just we want to get to multiple million customers. We want to be international, obviously trying to make the business profitable. So again, we're on that path, but it's all going well, and it's all, especially with this economy, with inflation, cost of living crisis, the solution that we have is much more on people's minds. So it's becoming an easier thing to sell, an easier thing to convince people to try, both from the consumer perspective and also from the retailer perspective. Whereas before, they almost didn't want to consider a savings option because the credit or the buy now pay later options were very attractive. But now those options are less attractive, both from a social perspective, but also with interest rates, it becomes non-feasible in many instances. So our solution is becoming, much more suited for the new world.
Yeah, I can see it's a great time to land your proposition with so many communities getting squeezed. Yeah, absolutely, Matt. So Matt, in terms of your journey as the founder and key player in this business, what can you share with us about the challenges that you've faced and overcome?
Yeah, so I'm sure lots of these challenges are very common. So I'm probably repeating lots of things. But that said, even though I've read almost every book there is, you have to experience some of them to really understand them. So the first one is like the team that you have, like the people that you work with, the team that you build with. Like it's critical, especially in the early days when you think of partners or co-founders, having that team, because there are so many problems that you encounter. It's never a smooth path, and having people alongside who, first of all, are just talented and smart to help solve if you're trying to do like a big problem, which we're trying to do. But also it's more, I think the more important thing is the mental resilience, like the perseverance, people who are not going to give up. They're going to sort of see it through, they're going to stick through it. And that becomes motivating in a way that sees you through these problems. So I think that, that aspect is really critical, extremely critical. And then once you get to a layer below that, as you hire people, again, that cultural fit is so critical because it is about the team, because we have to make things happen to get the problem solved. So just being so judicious in terms of how you assemble that team. I can't overstate how important that is. And then I think I think this is a common experience, but when you work with large partners, in our case, like large retailers, first of all, they move very slow compared to the pace of a startup. And also there's a level of bureaucracy, decision making, and also just complexity that if your business is predicated on a big corporate making decisions quickly, you're likely to be in trouble. So you have to plan a business that can survive without having to sort of, I guess, have a whale, win over a whale, so to speak, and being able to build something that can either use smaller businesses who can move more quickly and who are more nimble to try to maybe prove the business, and also having a proposition that can, again, in our case, it's there's both the B2B and B2C, but on the consumer side, if you have a proposition that consumers love, it also helps influence the larger retailers, because if it's just a sales pitch on paper, that's hard to convince someone to make a decision. Whereas if you have, in our case, hundreds of thousands of customers who are very happy with what you have, it helps to make decisions more quickly on the other side, because you can sort of prove to an experience that works, especially in our case, which is fintech. So you have a financial aspect to it. People don't want the money to be lost. So building up that trust, I think, is another big thing. Like, it's so important to build up that trust, do things properly, do things a bit longer if you have to, but you want to make sure that in the world of finance, that you don't make mistakes, that people's money is safe, that when there are issues, because they always come up, that you know how to resolve them, you're communicating well. So I think really like it's simple things. It's like, do things properly, don't do any shortcuts, ensure that you have a proposition that the individual loves, because from there you can scale it up, and you use that as a basis to build up support and rapport and trust with bigger contracts you may need to try and sign. But yeah, it always takes longer than you expect. Again, in my case, because whether it's the economy, things happen in the economy that you don't expect. Things just take longer to build within technology. Again, I think it's a very common refrain. So again, so many things I've learned that I would do differently, but it's all these similar lessons, and any mistakes I've made are things that I've read 100 times, but I had to make them myself, because in the heat of the moment, there's lots of pressure, there's lots of excitement. So yeah, I'm not sure if I look back, if there's something I could do to try to not make certain decisions where I felt under pressure, but I'm sure there is a method, and that's something where I need to probably learn more myself as to how do I make better decisions under pressure, different stakeholders, almost having a bit of patience. So yeah, lots I've learned and lots still yet to learn.
Great shares. Great advice too. Yeah, and you've picked up some key themes there. Matt, what does the future look like for you and your business?
So as I mentioned, we're going to expand internationally. That's looking later this year or next year. I'd say the biggest thing in the short term is we're expecting to sign a few large B2B contracts using our core technology. And that should be quite transformational, because the core that we have built, again, which is very unique and very special, and it's been very difficult to build, if we could apply that to existing user bases of millions of customers, it just gets instant scale. So for us, that's the next big thing on the horizon. And we're talking to a number of different players within different sectors within the UK. So I expect the next year for our user base to grow dramatically. And in terms of the revenue side, we expect that to grow dramatically as well in terms of some feature sets that we've grown. And the way we make money, so we're a free to the consumer product, but when our customers plan with our retail partners, we effectively earn a commission. So it's like a win-win type proposition. You plan with the partner, you earn as a customer, earn some kind of reward for that, and then we earn effectively a commission for that. So that aspect of the business is going to grow significantly towards the end of the year. And then I think, again, for me personally, is trying to make sure this business becomes more stable. And that's all around, the cash flow coming in smoothly, with the employees feeling that they have a purpose, feeling empowered, being able to make decisions so that people aren't blocked either by, whether it's by senior management or by me, or by just empowering more of the team so that it just becomes a machine. So that's, I think we're at a stage at the company where we're very close to reaching that stage in our evolution. I don't want to grow to be a massive company. I'd rather be efficient, a smaller team, and really scale off of that. That's the ambition anyways, and we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, having said that, you've scaled up pretty quickly in terms of size of team and the platform and so on, haven't you?
Yeah, and that's because we have 500,000 customers, there's an operational side that you just have to manage, whether it's new customers onboarding, and we have many hundreds of new customers every day, and also existing customers, just issues inevitably come up when you have 500,000 customers. So there's an operational side which you sort of learn how much you need to manage that, and I think we're quite efficient. And obviously there's on the build side, you start to get a sense of how many people, how many engineers you need to build what we have. But again, I always want my new shiny stuff built, but the reality is so much of it is it's fixing existing things, or some new update has come in from one of our third-party providers that you have to update. So a lot of the resource goes into maintaining the machine that we currently have, whereas in the early days you could focus all your resource on building shiny new kit. So that's been another learning lesson. It's this that sort of tech debts, or this inertia around an existing platform that people are using every day, that they rely on every day, does take resource, and then new stuff gets a bit neglected. So you have to hire more to almost try to isolate that, so you can maintain, but at the same time not slow down your innovation.
Right. Yeah. Keep it balanced. Excellent. And Matt, is there any kind of advice that you've got for your kind of younger self, if looking back and starting out again? What can you share?
Yeah, so I say when I look back, and obviously I'm still in the thick of this, so there's still lots for me to yet do. But I'd say the one thing, I wish I did a lot of things faster. So if I could have done things, so I think, like, what could I have done to make things go faster? Things that are within my control. I can't control COVID. I can't control inflation crisis, but I can't control the crypto crash and how that affected the investment community. But things that I could control, how could we go faster? And a lot of it really is in the process, in terms of how we actually, the operations of the company, like how we actually conduct our work. And with a startup, one of their advantages is our speed. So being nimble, quick, not bureaucratic, means as necessary. But you also want to make sure you have structure, so people know what they're doing, they know where they're going, and you have this alignment. especially with hybrid work, this becomes really tricky. So I'd say the hybrid work change really affected me personally in trying to keep the machine working well. And I think I could have done a better job with that. So again, it's you couldn't have predicted that would happen. But I think the lesson, I probably should have spent more time trying to understand how to create process and alignment within a hybrid work environment, trying to learn from best practices, trying to implement those kind of measures more quickly, things that aren't working, try to address it more quickly. So again, I think when I look back, I often would see something that's not quite working and let it sit for months, whereas I probably should react to it within days, maybe even. So I think it's more react more quickly in a transparent way and fix things more quickly, because things really do add up and time can really stretch if you sort of see an imperfect process that continues on for months. And all those months stacked together, I'd probably, who knows, I could probably say they had a year of development if I would have done that more perfectly. So I think really it's try to have been better at, it's really management. So take more time, because I care about my product and the app and try to build the features. And I was less personally interested in management and process, which is one reason why I like to do a startup, because I want to build something to sort of fix something in the world. But the way that happens is through process and management. So I suppose more attention to that would be probably the biggest thing if I were to do this over again. In fact, I should do it moving forward. Never too late to
Well,
start,
you've got, from what you've said, what you've shared with me, you've done that, right? You've got a team in place that they've got skills and experience and focus in areas that maybe aren't your the things you love and are best at. So you got that taken care of now. And I think the message you're saying is, the management is important focus for business owners in those early stages, or at least putting the pieces of the puzzle in place to effectively manage. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. As you say, we have put measures in place, which is on that path. So absolutely, those things are happening, and again, maybe it could have happened sooner. And it's correct. Like, it's so with people and process, especially for small business, that can kill the business. So it's so important to get it right, and also not just kill the business, it can make it not fun to do the work. And usually if you're a business owner, part of it is if you want to have a bit more autonomy, do things in the way that you want to do them. But if you have some of the wrong people in place, it can completely make it unenjoyable, not fun, and that takes away your inspiration. So I think it's really critical, to make sure there's people who have that alignment, that you feel like you can talk truthfully to. If you have an issue, you don't want to feel uncomfortable, because again, there's always issues. If you feel any level of discomfort trying to raise an issue, that's a sign that it's not a good fit. And hopefully you try to find that out during the interview process, again, if you're trying to add members to your team, because again, I think you want it to be fun, even though it's hard work. You want every day to be some kind of fun challenge. I think that's the key, because as I said, it's a long road. It doesn't always go up. There's like down runs, and you want to make sure that overall, like, you're enjoying this process of learning, this process of trying to get to that place. So the people alongside you is a critical aspect to it, and how you work together is a critical aspect to it.
Love that message, Matt, to wrap up with. Enjoy the journey, not just the destination. Fantastic. Listen, thanks so much for your time. That's a fascinating insight into your business. It looks like it's going great, and it's going to be an incredible proposition in the marketplace. Good luck with that, and thanks for your time.
Well, thank you. I enjoyed the chat.
Take care.